people.
Right.
So when we went to this conference, it was funny.
Oh, we're live now.
We're live. You're live on YouTube. Yay,
Are we live?
Jill! She did it.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing it.
No, hang on, it's almost there.
You're
almost
there. We're here.
It's almost there.
It says-
It's just telling me that you're live on
It
YouTube.
says live on YouTube. Your meeting now is streaming live on YouTube.
She's almost got
Okay.
us there. Jill's amazing.
They can
Jill's
see it,
Michelle.
but I can't.
No, it just not on YouTube. It just tells us on Zoom. This meeting is live on YouTube. That's really neat, actually.
So
We
it's-
got anybody in? All right, we're on. All right,
Are we-
as promised.
refresh your page.
This is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and kind of a special thing that we have tonight. We've got La Resistance. My feet. No, this is the Resistance Chicks. All right, and we go back a few years.
Yes.
And we have some things in common.
Many.
And I've been telling you guys that we're going to have them
There we
on
are.
for an interview here. So it's about time we did it. So why don't we start this off? And, before I go there, I think you ought to come when we do one of our hog butchering classes for interview purposes, because you can get a lot of B-roll during that.
Love it.
And you would just be monitoring it. You wouldn't have to pay or anything. And a lot of good B-roll for the things that you're doing.
That's
I think
awesome.
it might come in handy later on, and you can get in the photos as well. But okay, we have Michelle and Leah. All right. And I think it would be expedient if you could tell us about yourselves. Like, how did you become the Resistance Chicks? And what were you before you were the Resistance Chicks? How about
That's a
that?
really,
And then
really great question.
where was the transition?
Okay, so before we were the Resistance Chicks, we were just people. We were just home. We wanted to homestead. I went to Bible college to be an evangelist. I graduated with a degree in evangelism. We took a 3,000-mile bicycle trip around the country. We did not grow up in the country. We grew up in the city, and we have a single mom, so we lived mostly in apartments and kind of grew things on a balcony. And the first time I grew a carrot, it was from free seeds from like when they send them to you for like, give us money for Africa and plant these seeds. And I thought there were weeds on a 3rd-story balcony. I pull out a carrot and I'm like hooked. Oh my gosh, look, this whole carrot, right? Long story short, my grandma needs us. We move in to take care of her
In Ohio.
And we start taking care of her and our uncle. And we have all this free time because somebody's got to be here. So we start going outside and we start this garden, and we start like, oh my gosh. And then the deer come in. So we start to build like these
We built a
fortresses.
fortress out of, because we had cleared the land with a little 14-inch electric chainsaw and a Maddox.
Yeah.
And we had all these logs laying around. And so we literally built a fortress of like logs, almost like a little log cabin
To keep
the deer out.
of our
And it
little
worked.
garden.
And our neighbors, we literally live in suburbia, and the neighbors would drive by rubbernecking, almost having accidents. People would stop, they still do to this day, stop and ask for tours. And it's just kind of grown from there. Leah and I bought our grandmother's house. She passed away in 2008, and we bought it in 2010, and we learned how to remodel. We learned how to tile and drywall and frame and run electric and do plumbing, like soldering, and like you name it, we probably can do it.
My whole like my bookshelf here is like all of these type books.
Country wisdom.
This is what I would
Okay.
do at night. Just read the books.
Yeah.
And dream about having a farm.
And we had to fight our township just to be able to keep chickens.
yes.
And
Okay.
what's really cool is we are under a law of a very obscure law in Ohio called 51921. It's a don't zone me out law just for townships. And it came about.
This was a very rural area.
It was rural.
when my mom was growing up.
And so they wanted to not be zoned out by the city folk moving in. So if you
Okay.
want to do anything agriculturally, you can do it. but you have to fight to claim that law. And we had to
If
fight
you're
our
not
township.
in a platted
If you're not in a
subdivision.
platted subdivision, there's a couple of caveats there which do not apply to us. And we kept being told these caveats apply to you. And we fought it and fought it. And the thing that finally busted through, I think, was when we threatened to do the rufula, the religious,
It was a federal law, the religious exemption. We called it our church. We called it our homestead church. And this was part of our religion to grow our own
and
food.
they went hands off. And then they started telling, there was only one person, two people really, that were complaining about what we were doing here, keeping pigs and chickens, which wasn't a lot in a garden. And we found out kind of through the grapevine, they never came and told us that we qualified, but they told the people that were complaining, they qualify for this exemption. I can't help you.
Yeah. So I felt for you. And I first heard about Baker's Green Acres before we even met. I followed your whole saga. I watched like almost all your videos. I would see where you were at because it was right around the same time that our township was coming after us. And then our neighbor go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just said,
then our neighbor had our county come after us, and our county,
they were trying to get us on anything.
We had our county come after us, and they said, "Well, can we come and take pictures?" And we politely said,
"No,
no, I don't think so. You don't have. Do you have a warrant?"
And he was
like, very nice.
I
was like, "Is there a legal? Do we have to let you on?" He goes, "Well, no, but could I come?" And I was like, "No." I said, "Because in the county, there's a lot of people that keep pigs and chickens and
horses.
It's a rural county." And so we knew that we weren't going against county law at all. And so we were able to, we fought, and I got a lawyer on our side.
We didn't get a lawyer. We didn't hire a lawyer.
I didn't hire a lawyer, but I got a lawyer on our side. And she's the head of this thing at Ohio State. And she goes around to townships to explain to them the Don't Zone Me Out law, the Ohio 5/1921, and what they can't do. The thing of it is a township or government will never advertise to you what you can do. They will only advertise what you can't do.
So that's another thing that we threatened when we told them about our church that we were going to do. We threatened to do the church thing. And then we also threatened them. We told them, if you don't let us go on this, we are going to start missionizing. We're going to go and tell everybody that qualifies for this that they qualify for it. We're going to put it in the newspaper. I mean, and
we're going to go door to door. We're going to look up on all the tax maps and look at people's plots. And we're going to say, you probably qualify for this, because many of our neighbors qualify for it. And they kind of backed down. Our county backed down. And then our neighbor threatened to sue. Like with we got 2 letters from his lawyer saying, if you don't stop keeping your pigs, which don't smell, which don't do flies or anything, then we'll sue you. And it was just this attack after attack after attack. We finally won. We're finally friends with our neighbors again, and God worked it all out. But you have to do what you did. Know your rights and don't back down.
That's exactly right. So anyway, we went from that.
And we started we try to do our own homesteading. We have an acre and a tenth. Okay.
That tenth really
we grow over half of our own food.
Grow or raise.
Okay.
We do 50 meat birds every year.
We run them. We run them in
pasture rotation in our backyard.
And we run them down and we bring them back and we run them down. And it works. And we go through about 50 meat birds a year. And we started we figured we could do homestead hogs. And I learned from when we started all of the legal battle, we joined Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund. And then we went and we met Jill Salatin and Thomas Massey. They had a thing in Virginia.
That was in 2016.
And I saw that Joel, for the first part of his hog's life, they're under a roof and on wood chips. So that's what we do. So we have 2 big pens and they connect like hamsters. And when we want them,
they have open air areas as well.
And they have open air areas.
Large.
Yeah, it's significant. We could grow more vegetables, but we give them a happy life. And they have large areas. And we bring in the grass. So like
we mow it and bag it and bring it in. And then we have a local produce place that gives us, I can't put a number on it.
The gallons of produce we get.
Hundreds of pounds a week of fresh produce that our pigs get.
So our pigs ate today, and people drop off bread from like Panera. So the Panera bread. So like our pigs, I have a mixture of non-GMO corns, Sometimes I add soy, but instead for protein, I'll add sunflower seeds, whole wheat, oats, and I make a
Minerals.
mixture, but I haven't had to get into my mixture for over a year and a half or maybe even more because of the produce and the bread and
the grass.
and the grass and our pigs eat hay. So they get hay and they're happy.
And we do all of that on an acre and a tent. So there's never an excuse for how much land you have. You may not be fully self-sustaining,
but start wherever you're at.
But our farm, you talked last night on your show and then again on Facebook yesterday about regenerative farming.
Mm-hmm.
We can regenerative farm at least 30 or 40% of what we do here on an acre and a tenth. That's huge. That's huge.
It is.
Well, that's the part of the wood chips that break down that become compost that then go back into the garden.
Yeah.
And we have soil that's like this deep that's just been built here.
Yeah.
By our, I used to go there's things that people can do. You do the big thing and you could do the grass thing, but there's things that you can do like to make your own compost. The best way to do that, find fresh horse manure. People are cleaning out their stalls fresh because it's got the nitrogen in it.
Yeah.
The fresh pee actually is what you want, and mix that with leaves. And so if you do have, I used to go and we have enough now, but I'd get a truckload of fresh horse manure with the hay and the pine shavings and the pucks. And you mix that and layer it with leaves.
We actually used to sometimes put that in with our pigs if it looked nice.
Oh, they eat the horse
pucks. That's what we call them.
It's fresh grass.
And we learned that from Joel, actually.
Yeah, because the pigs can go over that.
Because the horses don't digest their food. They're not like a cow. I mean, it literally goes in and it comes out.
Yeah,
almost the same.
Yeah. When people in the movies when they fall into horse manure, it's really not gross. Like cow manure, maybe fresh pig manure, but not horse manure.
Pig. Yeah.
So layer that, especially like we would box it in a 3x3 with leaves and horse manure, and that will break down in less than 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. And then you could then I would make another one, and then I make another one. I'd turn it, and within about 3 months, I'd have piles of fresh compost, and then we can use that fresh compost and we start our seeds in it. So there's so much that you can do. Like for our chickens, for instance, our chicken yard was getting a little bit, they're free to roam, but we have to fence in our garden so the chickens don't get into our garden. So what we've done is we have pallets that we put hardware cloth on top, and then I'll throw down oats, and the oats come up.
And they can only peck it down to the hardware cloth.
And so the chickens have fodder, and I have about a 20 by 20 fodder area
in our chickens.
Yard.
But see, our chickens are allowed to roam the entire acre that we have, except for what's cordoned off for the garden that they can't get into.
Yeah.
But so we were doing all of that, and we can't really take the credit for that. We call him the Kansas Cowboy. You met him at the conference. He's our camera guy, but he's so much more than that. He moved in to our basement in like 8 years ago, something like that. So he is the muscle of a lot that we do.
The muscles in the brain cell, the buildings
and things like that. So it's not just Leah and I and our mom. There's a lot more to it.
We wouldn't have been able to do the pigs without, you need manly muscle, especially
it took us 20 minutes to get the most giant pig we've ever raised onto a dolly a month ago after we had shot her. And we were like, it's Leah and I in Kansas. We physically cannot, we don't have like a loader or anything. We're on an acre. We don't have a tractor. Everything is done by literal manpower. And, but we finally got her on there. But without him, we would not. We would have had to field dress her.
You guys raised the Mangaliskas. We raised like a cousin of the Mangaliskas, the Coonies. And they don't get huge, like, the traditional,
fair hog,
but they can still get big. And so we started with 3 sows and a boar. We wanted a friendly boar. So our boar came inside and watched movies with us
for the first 6 months of his life.
Yeah. His name was Malachi.
Maybe not that long. It was probably
we go get him from outside, bring him inside, let him walk around the house. They're fun, cute pigs. I love them. And he was really friendly. He was good with the kids. And we bred, I think we've probably
well over like maybe 120 piglets on
probably had about 120 piglets. And people are there's a huge market. Let's put it that way.
For heritage hogs, which
for heritage hogs. Our boar got a bad ACL. We had to put him down. So we haven't been breeding in about a year. So we're waiting to get through all of our other stock, put them in the freezer so that we want to start fresh with a couple sows and a new boar.
Can you unscrew that light bulb up there?
But yeah, so what we don't grow, we'll get our stuff like canned goods. We'll go to, and this is what anybody else can do. Go to a farmer's market, see what kind of fresh produce they have, buy tomatoes in bulk and can them.
Yeah.
It's way cheaper. Go to your local farm stand and buy just a bushel of corn or bushel or two of corn and cut off the corn and pressure can it and and you can do your pantry even if you don't have access to land to grow in. And when you start and you get your toe, they say that you start with chickens and then you move on. I would have a cow like yesterday if we had the property for it, because milk cows are awesome and I love them. And I love making cheese and yogurt and butter and you just read about, my favorite book is Sally Fallon, Nourishing Traditions, where you have, the fermented food and the natural food. It's called raw milk. That's just milk. Milk isn't really supposed to be cooked before you drink it. It's like natural ways, going back to natural ways and going back to natural healing and natural health.
To harken back to, we were not raised this way. No. I was raised on soda pop and candy. Okay. My mom tried to give us the best food, but she let us have, we were really responsible kids. So if we wanted it, we could have it. And so this is all brand new, essentially, for us within the past 15 years, 10 to 15 years. Yeah. So
and we found that, like, I loved in your video last night, which you were telling everybody, we don't do this for money. If you're doing this for money, get out. It's not going to work, but you'll find things of more value than money.
Yeah.
In what you do. Yeah. The peace, the serenity that I have, we watched the movie Food Inc. When you see those CAFOs, and I didn't even know what those were before Farm to Consumer and meeting, talking with people like you, confinement operations where the chickens, I mean, I'm sure most of your viewers have seen the pictures and the videos of how they raise chickens. Are you kidding me? This is inhumane. This is not natural. How can that meat be healthy for us?
Here's the deal. So here's how that mindset melds with what we do at Resistance Chicks. And so there is a conspiracy, not a theory, just a conspiracy to keep us cognitively dissonant or unaware of where our food comes from and how it is raised.
Yeah.
And it's political, it's geopolitical, it's by design. And so what we do on our channel is expose those who would keep the natural ways of the way we're supposed to live, of life, those that want us to be sick, those that realize that they want big pharma. They want us, addicted to the television, addicted to, big pharma, our lives in the city.
You'll get this. And this is a kind of a gospel message, and your viewers will get this. It's not enough to just buy organic.
Right.
It's not enough just to buy supplements, because you and I both know there is something spiritual, physical, metaphysical, emotional when you're outside. You just said, I don't really want to be working on my bathroom. I want to be outside, because there's something even just being outside. And what you have is, when you've got to take care of your animals, it motivates you to go outside and make yourself healthier.
Well, you know what Jill is several times I've seen in videos that Jill has done, and she talks about this drawer that she has of like supplements and pills and things like that she just doesn't have to take anymore because of living life the way that it's supposed to. So to round off all of that a little bit, in 2016, the end of 2016, our mom, we used to watch Alex Jones.
So we had the homesteading channel. It was Mass Faith 3.
Yeah. And we had a good amount of subscribers there, like maybe like 500. That was a good amount for us.
Yeah. And we did like canning videos and how-to videos and fun stuff like that.
And so our mom was like, you guys could, Leah was already doing all of this political research and societal research and coming and bringing us all these facts. And my mom, as a mom would, you could put that to use. She's like, you guys could expand your channel, start something new, and bring politics to people and bring the truth and expose things like IG Farben, right? And Bayer and all of the chemicals that go along with that. Like, so our whole job for the past 4 or 5 years has been to expose the tyrants in this world.
And we found out that we got on the trail just a year too late to go professional and go gangbusters.
Right.
So 2017, we became Trump. We got on the Trump train, you could say, because we were anti-Trump.
Okay.
And we got on the Trump train. And I would say that we actually got on the Trump train for the election because we really wanted him to win.
The first one.
Yeah. And it was so much fun because we were like fighting left and right against the Clintons, and the internet was kind of this free for all. And I don't know, maybe people remember when you were allowed to talk bad about the Clintons and you could on Facebook and you weren't censored. You get most of your news on Facebook, at least I did. And then in 2017, for the first 6 months, our channel, Resistance Chicks, well, Mass Faith 3 actually, took off. And we gained 10,000 subscribers in less than 6 months. We were on our way to becoming professional YouTubers. We got ads and we were making money, and it was fantastic. And it was so much fun because we had all these viral videos, 75,000 views, 100,000 views. It was just gangbusters. It was fun. Okay. And then Charlottesville happened in the middle of 2017. And you guys know Millie Weaver. She's kind of a friend of ours. She went there. And so I knew that the narrative of this weird white supremacy craziness was false. And so we were telling people, listen, I don't know who these tiki torch crazed men are, little boys with all white t-shirts and the slicked over 50s. Yeah. I've never seen them before. You've never seen them before. It all almost seems like a psyop, guys.
Oh yeah.
With the little torches. Okay. There's something fake here. We found out people were getting off of the same bus on both sides of the argument or whatever.
So that video that we did covering Charlottesville hit 160,000 views, I want to say, in one day. And then it didn't get another view after that. And then YouTube said, sorry, you're in YouTube basement. But we've been continuing to plod along. Thank goodness we had 2 channels the whole time. So every video that we did on our primary channel is on this channel, Resistance Chicks, for as of right now. But we have 2 strikes and we're tiptoeing our way to the 7th of May until that second strike gets released.
But we've expanded. So we're on BitChute, we're on Rumble, we're on Telegram, we're on MeWe. And
we'll be on Mike Lindell's Frank Speech.
Yeah, and that's where somewhere you should be at too.
Mike Adams,
Brighteon. Mike Adams is a great channel on Brighteon, and that kind of rolls into the
Health and Freedom.
The Health and Freedom. So we went gangbusters. We got out of YouTube, the basement, when we started to cover the election, and YouTube let us basically cover the election fraud.
Don't say that on their channel.
I can, but you can't say Trump.
Just don't say it.
I will say it at the same time. They have these rules on which you can say. You can say one or the other, but you can't say them both at the same time. They literally say that. That's an email. It says you can say one or you can say the other. And so we covered that ad nauseum. We covered it from morning till night, all the hearings. I can tell you everything. And what's very interesting about that is that they do not give you strikes for it. They only just take the videos down.
I'll get an email maybe once a week telling me that they have deleted one of the videos that we did during the election season. And they'll say, we recognize that this
may not know
that this goes against our community standards. And since you already have 2 strikes on your channel, we're not giving you a 3rd. We're just removing your content. Which another interesting fact is I will still get those emails about our Mass Faith 3 channel that's deleted according to them. And they're still deleting videos off of our deleted channel. So is it really deleted?
I don't know.
So
that's how we started. So we really are just homesteaders at heart. With you guys, we did that whole kind of same intro with Mike Adams, the health ranger. And I think we scared him a little bit. Because we talked about, I didn't realize it because it's normal talk for you and me. This is what I would do. We butcher our pigs. I got 3 freezers. I got a beef cow. I got my chickens, and I got 2 hogs with smoked bacon, sausage, pork chops. It's red meat. So I got, you can make steaks out of this stuff. It's the best meat ever. Okay. And it's just funny because some people say they could never
kill an animal.
What do you say to people, Mark, when they say, oh, but I could never kill an animal? What do you say?
We need a good answer.
My standard line is if it's usually it's a woman that says that. Usually it is. And my standard line is, around here, my wife and my girls, they don't desire to do it, and I don't push them to do it. Right? But when we give our classes, when we have about 50% women that come to the classes, and if they want to participate, it's up to them, but we don't push them to do it. You know, I
Right,
don't
right,
shame
right.
them. I don't
Right.
call them names or wimps or anything like that. They don't want to do it. But if somebody says I could never do it, I probably am just thinking in my mind that, well, that's pretty short-sighted, because you're watching this process happen.
Wow.
And something in you is telling you that you need to know how to do this. And I'm sure you could if your stomach was empty and your kids
Yeah.
were crying because they needed food. You know, you could
Right.
do it. For sure you
Yeah.
could do it.
That's a
Joe
good
could
point.
do it. The girls could do it, but they just don't desire to do it, and we don't push them.
We don't desire to do it either. We do the butchering. Kansas does the
I
killing.
enjoy
I don't like to do the
butchering
killing.
and evisceration. What would you say to encourage a man? Because I do believe it's very manly, and I feel like it's a calling, you know, because I think it makes you more manly to be able to raise your meat humanely, or to hunt meat and to kill it, and to do so in a tender yet soft way. I think there was a scientist who measured blood levels of natives who would go out for the hunt, and he would measure them while they're on the hunt, and they had extremely high testosterone levels while they're hunting. Very interesting though, after the hunt on the way back, they had extremely high oxytocin levels, which are the levels that mothers
Nurturing.
get when they start to,
because they're bringing a food back to provide.
So when they're bringing back the food to their family, there are these, and oxytocin is like a high. Okay, it's like it's a very good feeling. It's why if your pigs, maybe you've had a mom who won't start milking. We've had one, and we had to give them a shot of oxytocin, and when they get that started, oh, I love to milk, and it almost becomes an addiction, and they enjoy it because this new, like, it's a chemical in your brain that, you know, nature and God gives you. But it's also very interesting when a man kills something and brings it back to the tribe. There are those same nurturing levels, that same kind of high. It's a very good feeling.
So the question is, what do you say to men that would say that?
To encourage them that this would be a good thing. It's not something to be afraid of.
Yeah, well, I think this goes along with what we were talking about last night in a lot of ways. This process that we're developing and we're helping other people develop in their lives, it is part of the plan. So when any of the things that we're designed to do, should be a pleasurable, or at least acceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, and last night I made a distinction between the permaculture people and the regenerative people. Like, the earth was created, and it was an unbelievable dynamic design that we don't understand.
Right.
And we're kind of like Adam and Eve. We can stand by and we can watch it. We get the ability to tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the regenerative side of things. The permaculture side seems to think that, well, this is just a big bang, and we play God in this. We play God.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing what you're told in the regenerative side, you just play by his rules, by his plan. Get the owner's manual out and sit down and study it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a distinction. So when you say about a man killing, I immediately go to a concept that I have a pretty good idea of when you talk about men and you talk about violence, right? And sometimes a man, they'll say about a man, oh, he's such a gentle guy. He's very, very gentle. Men, extremely violent men, extremely, but they don't display it because it's not required. But if the time was required, I mean, they'll pull a tomahawk and they will hack you to pieces if they need to, but they're able to control it. And I might even be in that category. I can control it most of the time, you know, but it's there. Violence is part of us. Killing is part of us.
Yeah.
is part of us. And I think that a lot of times when you approach a man, especially me as a man, I approach some men and I kind of think, I'm going to be careful here.
Hmm.
Did he get timed up? Oh. Come on back, Mark. Still alive.
It is still live.
There we go.
Yep, still live. He should be back
Okay.
in a moment.
The joys of technology.
Yeah. Oh, Mark, yours is off. It might just hang on and we'll be back.
Are we still live on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are.
Oh, hey y'all.
Hey.
We could talk water uphill.
What else do you guys
Yeah,
want to hear about?
go for it. Keep on going.
I see me, but I don't
What-
see you guys.
What else do you want to hear about, Marco?
We can hear you.
we can hear Mark, but I don't think that they can hear him.
Oh, really?
Oh, they can
Mark
hear
said
you.
something really
Is that
interesting
right?
though
Totally.
about sometimes
Well,
you
this is this is not about interviewing me, but I,
No, I know, but listen,
let's see, how would I
until we
finish
get
that
back,
up? All of
until we
this
get back, we
stuff
can run your show.
that
We're professionals. But you said something really
They can run
interesting.
your show till you get back on.
You said something
Should
really
I just keep
interesting
going?
about the you approaching a man, and sometimes you're just kind of like, you know what, this
Yeah.
guy we're going to use at
I
the
can
conference.
see
For
me.
those of you that don't know, we went to there's going to be two different conferences that we refer to. The one where we met Mark,
Last year in Cincinnati,
January of 2020, right
2020.
before the pandemic.
Right before the pandemic.
And at that conference, it was called the Rogue Food Conference. Mark spoke,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you what. And I've said this to him multiple times in person, and I've been wanting to say it on his show. So now I'm here and I have the mic and I can. Mark had this presence in the room, and it
That
was
it
one of
just
those. You listen. It's
Filled
like
the room with manliness.
it was like you wouldn't approach the wrong side of this guy, but you
No.
would want to be on his side all day long.
Yeah.
Not out of fear, but just like out of, okay, this dude.
And this guy would have your back.
Yeah, and he's actually going to take an entire, fleet with him to victory. And that's what he did at the conference, where everybody at the conference was kind of saying, well, we can go around the law here, which that's great. Go around the law.
That's what we did.
Okay, we've done that. But what we all really would rather do,
Just take him on.
just let's take them head on. And Mark and Jill came with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights
and the Bill of Rights.
printed out for everybody. And he was like, no, like they would try to like kind of say, well, yeah, Mark, but what about this? And he would just say, no.
If you give them an inch, they will take a mile.
Yes. He's like, no, you just
You have
stand
to
up
be
for your
wise
rights.
about what you're doing. You have to be smart about what you're doing. You don't
Yeah.
want to poke the bear,
Right.
right? But Mark took on the government and he won.
And he inspired in the conference.
He got a standing ovation.
I'm telling you
was
what,
inspiring.
Mark was when we walked away from that conference going, inspired by all of the other speakers, but after Mark, we walked away going, and now we have the answers.
Yeah, and we can do this.
And we
because
can do
somebody
this.
else did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so powerful. So we were able to interview Mark at this conference, and we just felt like an immediate kinship because that's kind of who we are. We're tenacious. I know that I have rights within the Constitution to be able to farm. You can't tell me that I can't grow animals and food
Right.
I don't care if I have a half an acre or a quarter of an acre. I have a God-given right to grow my own food. You can't tell me that I can't do
We
that.
can take that a step further, and I want to dance around how I say this on Mark's channel here, but we're talking about going into stores like this, and we've been walking into stores without it, right? You can't tell me
that I don't have a right to breathe.
that I don't have a
oxygen.
right to breathe oxygen. You can't tell me that I don't have a right to grow my own food, to raise my own chickens. Around here, you can have a fire
There we go.
if it's for
There he
cooking
is.
purposes. There he is.
Yeah.
So I think we rounded off that end of that segment by praising.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard any of
Okay.
it. but
Awesome.
We
and
No, I
told
you
them
didn't-
about
I
the
didn't hear
conference
any
and
of it.
your
Acres
speech.
people
And
are awesome.
You guys
and
are
I
awesome.
love that you meet together. I absolutely love Mark's tagline. Anyone
One
can
can
farm.
farm.
He is an inspiration to more people than he can count.
But it's not just anyone can farm, like physically able. Anyone can, according to the law and the Constitution,
Ooh.
farm.
Absolutely.
Whoa,
You know.
you just went deeper.
I think that Mark, I think they do that. It's a dual thing.
I know, but yeah, you get it. Yeah, so that in 2020 was when we were all gung ho. We're getting ready to take on the big food ag, and then 2020, and then everybody like backed off. Everybody kind of
now we
backed
can't
off.
fight our government.
Oh well.
But you didn't,
But
and we didn't, and
yeah.
countless other people haven't. And that brings us to the
Health and Freedom
Health and
Conference.
Freedom Conference.
So if you want us to dive into that, we will. The Health and Freedom Conference. Affirmative, sir. He's in the military. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right.
I do.
So,
I do.
okay, great.
That, but you
So
met with
y'all
some
have been
pretty heavy
following.
duty
He's
people
talking.
there.
Say it again, Mark.
Well, we know that you met with some pretty heavy duty players at the
I know
Health
you
and
want us to
Freedom
get to the
Conference,
Linwood, and we will. We're definitely going to get to Lynn.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So y'all have been following these people. Linwood,
Mike Lindell,
Mike Lindell,
Sidney
General
Powell,
Flynn.
General Flynn.
You've been following them. We've been following them. Now you got to follow them on Telegram or Clout Hub because they dispersed us all. And so we all had to kind of go underground. And from the underground, we have been building this resistance. And I
Yeah.
love now that we're the resistance. Now we finally get to be the resistance chicks again because Hillary Clinton stole the resistance from us. And people thought we were lefties for a while.
But now we really are resisting tyranny.
So it was 3 weeks, 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks before the conference, this guy named Clay Clark. I hadn't heard of him. I guess he's really big in his little realm, which is entrepreneurship. He holds these huge conferences on
Giant.
for business people on how to make your business better.
But he's
got-
a patriot.
But he's a patriot.
And he has a radio
runs
program.
A radio program out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he contacted all these people.
And they said yes.
And all these people said yes.
So within 3 weeks, he had a conference put together.
But he needed a place. So we lived in Tulsa, Broken Arrow. When I was in Bible college, I went to Rhema Bible Training Center where the conference was held. And we lived there for 4.5 years. So I knew the area very well. And what I didn't know is Clay went to the same church that we went to, which was called Guts. And later on, I talked to the pastor of Guts, or one of the pastors of Guts. They said, no.
Every church in Tulsa said, no, we will not hold this conference.
Too hot.
Except
Too hot.
They were scared. They
Too
were
controversial.
afraid. And Leah's Bible College is the only church in probably 100-mile radius
It
that
holds
said yes.
4,500 people. And they had their congregation had been dwindling, kind of gone a little bit placid lake for a little while. It was a charismatic healing prayer and healing place, and just kind of, its fire had dwindled a little bit. But they said yes. They said yes. And so we emailed and said, hey, can we get a ticket? What we didn't know was that there was no just buying tickets.
They screen, and they're doing this for the next conference.
Every single person's social media and the world is screened. So they don't let in Antifa and bad people.
So you can't just get a ticket.
So no, there's no just getting a ticket,
which I love.
50,000 people
requested
tickets. And so they said, I'm sorry, we've sold them all. And I was like, I don't know what got in me. I heard that they had sold them all. And I just brought up my email and I said, in a second, hi, I graduated from Rhema. We're going to win this thing. God is moving. Can we come as media?
We have a YouTube channel.
Here's all my social media. We could be good. We could be great together. I get an email back. What's your phone number? Here's my phone number.
So then Clay Clark, apparently he's big in his own right, calls me personally. And he's like, you guys are coming. It's completely paid for. You're also coming to the VIP dinner, which was amazing. That's where we got to interview Patrick Byrne. He reminds me so much of you. It's not even funny. It literally, like, just with longer blonde hair. You're both massively, you have a presence.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we were able to, we hightailed it. We got a farm sitter and we went to Tulsa and we did a lightning trip. So
yeah, so we go there. We don't know what's going on. We show up at this VIP dinner. And we're not sure of the protocols. We don't know if we're allowed to interview. We don't know if we're allowed to live stream. We weren't
sure if we were invited as media or if we were invited just as kind of
So we wung it.
So we just brought our mics
So we
and
just
interviewed people anyway.
we got these great mics. They just happened to work out perfectly. We had wireless mics.
We ran smack into Mike Lindell.
boom, walked
he
right
was-
into it.
And we're like, hey, Mike. And he was like, hey. And
He's like, why haven't I heard of you? You're going to be on Frank's Speech, aren't you? He pulls us aside. He tells us about Frank's Speech, which you guys are all going to join.
It's gonna be
You
amazing.
probably know he's running 24/7 shows on Frank's Speech. He's been attacked by 7 million or more bots. It was supposed to be up, but they've had to redo their infrastructure. Frank's Speech is going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. We're all going to be there. All of you and us. It's going to be great. And what it's going to be is he's going to have, and yeah, it's going to be a little censorship. It's going to be the place where conservatives can go and put up their channels.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to be. And so he's curating these channels of conservatives. We're in line, but I don't know at what place we are in line. And they're going to have these channels, and then you'll have like your own web page as a channel person, which you should be able to get a channel. And then there'll be a live stream, and there'll be commenters, and then everybody else can come and have.
And I had heard
their own
that
page.
every channel will start out with everyone subscribe to them, and then you have to unsubscribe. So let's say there's 10 million people on the platform. You'll have 10 million subscribers. And then people have to unsubscribe from you if they don't want to watch your content. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it sounds good in theory.
So we run into Mike, and he gives us this special email address, and we're live. He's like, I don't want to get everybody. So we have this. So we run into Mike. We film General Flynn. I'm right there, and General Flynn's talking, and then he's right there, right beside me. There's General Flynn.
What I want to give your viewers here is some inside stuff into, we didn't get a lot of inside information, but I can give you inside information as to who these people are, hands down. Are they who they say they are?
Yes.
More so.
Mike
Lindell, when we ran into him, he was kind.
The nicest, kindest, humblest, realest person you'll ever meet.
His joy is real.
It is real.
So his confidence, when he comes out and he says, when my evidence comes out and it gets before the Supreme Court, you're going to have 9 justices that all sign off, that this happened and all that. He sounds so confident. That's real within him. So whether he's not lying, I guess, let me put it that way. I don't know what basis he has to say those things, whether it's faith in God or information, but he legit means
that room in the power of God. You guys, it's still up on YouTube now. It's kind of scratchy, but on Resistance Chicks, you can watch General Flynn's VIP speech that night.
I don't think we were supposed to film it. We did. We streamed it live.
But Clay Sixton has said, come and stream and do whatever.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things where you have to buy $20 tickets to watch it online. They want the information out. They want freedom to get out. This was the best place I had ever been. Nobody was in it for money. Nobody was in it for fame. Everybody was in, and everybody knew if we're going to win this thing, it's going to be through the power of God.
Yeah.
We had prayer, we had praising, we had worship. Everybody was worshiping.
And here's the interesting thing. General Flynn is Catholic.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's with a whole bunch of charismatics.
Yeah.
Or Baptists or whatever, like you name it. And we
were
all joined together.
People.
It didn't matter denomination.
It was on fire. Okay. We interviewed Patrick Byrne, some lady who's famous for being part of QVC. Anna
Lee
Kate
Valentine
was right next to me, and she's famous too for being on Survivor. And now she's got a huge social media presence. Lynn Wood's there, and we're in this room, and it is unbelievable.
And the unity.
And
and that's
awesome.
the thing. So when Leah says it was life-changing, because that's what we keep saying, our lives are changed. And here's why.
Yeah.
Because we were with thousands upon thousands of people, and then even more online. I don't know how many millions of views that these videos had online. And the unity that we were all in, it was like,
We're
oh my
in this
gosh,
together.
whenever Mike Lindell or Mike Flynn or Lynn Wood came out and said, we won. I'm not going to say who won. We'll just say we won.
We won.
Okay.
God won.
We won back there in November. Okay. The whole room exploded when they said, DJT is our prez. I'm abbreviating here on purpose. The whole room erupted, and General Flynn said that in front of everybody. And it was like, he's our general.
I saw that.
In that moment, we just felt like you almost wanted to stand up and salute the man.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is our general. And you can see how God put this all into place. So it wasn't God's will. I don't believe that General Flynn was prosecuted and persecuted, but because he was, whatever the devil had planned for him,
God just,
1 million,
Yeah.
gonna take him down.
yeah.
Okay. It put General Flynn in this place. He put him through the fire, and it's like he came out as Gandalf the White. Okay.
And he was, so what we were there as media, and there was other media that was there, and Flynn, all of them, they would not stop doing interviews. They were like,
No.
whoever,
so
no,
humble.
we didn't get to interview Flynn, but that's
Only
because he
because
had
we
to
didn't
catch a
have the
plane,
time.
a plane.
He grabbed, you could see,
He was leaving. I
think
said,
I
can
cut-
we get an interview?
I think I cut the part of it.
And I grabbed his hand and he squeezed it and he said, I'm so sorry. I can't, I have to go. And I was like, that's okay. But he was so genuine. Like, you've never met a more humble. Mike Lindell has a little bit of pride. Linwood legit has a lot of pride. Not Mike, not General Flynn.
Yeah.
General Flynn has zero pride. He is just, and you see it in the interviews that you've watched him. He's like, I just can't believe that I have this following. I can't believe that I have these people. And so what you saw with Mike Lindell, Patrick Byrne, Sydney wasn't there, but
Patrick Byrne, the ex-CEO of Overstock, was incredibly humble.
He
so
was
nice.
We actually, okay, so there's a, I want to be able to direct your people where to watch this. It's going to be probably on, let's have you go to our BitChute channel and go to the VIP dinner, probably the second video that was there. Patrick Byrne is in that video, and we legit asked him about the meeting at the White House live on camera, and he answered us.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell him what he said?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, he basically came out and said, I think it was Lynn, Sydney, and I don't think Mike was there.
Mike Lindell.
Who's your guy that you love on War Room? He's got all the muscles and is balding, and Peter Navarro.
Yeah.
Right. I think Peter Navarro was there too.
Yeah.
And he essentially said, we came and we brought Donald Trump a plan and told him if he did all of these things, we could have this thing settled. We would go, and they were going to take and just go ahead and do almost like a federal, they were going to take the government
and do like a federal
and just
audit.
do a federal audit in these places. And they were just going to get it done. And the way he said it was like, Donald Trump had other people that were telling him that was a bad idea.
But he was
but Donald Trump was really humble about it. He was like, Patrick, like, I could see
but
this.
he kind of joked back and forth with him. Like
he's like, Patrick, I could walk away from all of this.
That's what he said.
Like, I don't
need this.
I think that Donald Trump didn't want to do something super extreme.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he didn't. He wanted to, at the very least, seem even keeled and level headed. And so that interview that we got with Patrick, which we haven't really talked with many people about, probably you're the first, was probably one of the most significant backroom pieces of information that we got.
Yeah, I felt like a real journalist.
We did. We just stuck the mic in his, and he answered.
Tell me about that meeting in the White House.
Our question.
Yeah, he did.
He was totally honest and transparent about it. And he was also, Patrick doesn't have the God side as much, even though he's with General Flynn and Mike Lindell and Linwood and Sydney, who are all God, like, huge people. But it's almost like he has faith in their faith.
Yeah.
And so he was like, he said to us, I've seen the stuff that Mike Lindell has. He's like, it's legit. It's everything that he says that it is.
Yeah.
So you can take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But he was so honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just completely honest, humble, real.
So we
Americans.
did a couple live streams. We did some on Facebook, but those Facebook ones are on you can find everything on Resistance Chicks BitChute, Resistance Chicks Rumble, and the best place is Brighteon.
That's Mike Adams.
Mike Adams, because he was supposed to stream it live, and because Mike Adams wasn't able to stream it live, he took our live streams and he put it on the front of his page, so it got a ton of views.
Yeah.
And all of our videos,
they're choppy, but you can hear the audio really well.
But some of our other videos,
and you can since now see them. Mike's been putting them up.
Yeah,
and Mike videotaped it. It was just for us to be able to be the only people there. Like Rhema.tv was supposed to do it. That's the church. They didn't have signal. Brighteon, Mike Adams didn't have signal, so nobody could get a signal out, but we did.
But we were the only people to get a signal
and everybody
out.
was trying to search and see where they could find it. So so that's the Patrick Byrne one bit. I think that the big one outside of Patrick Byrne. And then we got a second interview with Mike Lindell.
That
This was hilarious.
So a little bit of backstory on the Mike
Yeah.
Lindell. So the next day,
Okay.
it was very late in the evening. We had gotten a bunch of other interviews, and a lot of the media had gone home because it was only supposed to go to a certain time, like 9. And it was really, because it was a long day, people went home. So after the speakers spoke, they would come back to the media rooms
and expect to be interviewed.
and expect to be interviewed. So this guy that we kind of hooked up with named Clay Stairs, he's awesome.
Running
He was-
for Congress in Oklahoma.
He was, running. All these people are running. Guys, it's so exciting. We are going to blow things out.
2022 is going to be giant.
It's going to be amazing. The energy it's just on fire. And
Pastors are running. They're
pastors
pushing
are running.
pastors to run.
States are passing good election laws to make sure that 2022 is legit. And I want people to get excited about it because it's going to be lit. Like when the Tea Party,
all of Rudy's traveling, what they're calling a circus, but the traveling
All of that
election
traveling.
fraud
Think about this.
exposure.
think about this. It has put a fire under Georgia. Look what's happening in Arizona. There's stuff coming out of Michigan
All
just
of
today.
these legislatures are still conservative, and they are now going there. They have
Even
woke the heck
Minnesota.
up.
Minnesota's
And they're like,
legislature
we have to
is
change our
Republican.
laws or we're losing it all. And so they're doing it. That doesn't mean that the evil ones are not going to keep trying, but they're waking up. So back to the conference.
Right. So encourage you. So nobody was there really to interview Mike Lindell. So Clay's like, hey, you guys want to get Mike Lindell?
We're like, we had him already.
No, Kansas said it.
Oh.
Kansas,
The
our camera
Cowboys,
guy,
like,
the Kansas
we did
cowboy.
him already. And
He's
Leah and
like,
I are going, no, just
take him again. We'll take him again. We'll take him again. Because we don't want to we got a piece of cake. We don't want to take everybody, but no, we'll take him again. So we were waiting for Mike Lindell to come out, and he was in a room getting prayer because something was going down. And he comes out. It's the first time I'd never seen him like this. He was disheveled. You can see it on our interview with Mike Lindell. You can see
I
him
left the
come out.
beginning part on because it was
He's
very
disheveled
real.
and you can
Shaken.
see us. And he was shaking. I was like, well, do you even want to do this interview? And he's like, yeah.
You asked him if he wanted us to pray.
I'm just putting out fires. And in that interview, Michelle and I are praying for him while we're doing the interview, and his
Everything changed.
everything changed. He gets so excited to the point where we're talking to him for 20 minutes.
You can't shut the man up.
And we get this number
From our friend Clay
the
Stairs.
media trying to
He's
get
like,
more media.
you need
get
to wrap it
interviews.
up. And I'm like, how do you shut up Mike Lindell? Like, you can't. But
This is the interview of a lifetime. He's going to keep talking.
that interview again is on our anywhere where we are. You can find that one, except for our YouTube, and not anything is on our YouTube channel really. But you could watch. I was watching him because we're interviewing him. Leah and I think are standing on either side of him, or no, he's on the far end, and I could see his eyes light up throughout the interview. And you know how when you can read somebody, and I watched his brain go, "Who are these girls? They're great." And the difference
It wasn't
was
us. It was the
it wasn't
power
us.
God.
It was the enthusiasm. And that's what everybody had. Everybody had this, like, we can win this thing. And I think a lot of times you win a war based on morale, and the power of God. And so the morale that we have,
I want to start running now that I'm talking about it all. I got to tell you, I live the 2 days like this. We go home where we're staying with friends of ours who live in
sleep.
Tulsa, our best friends. We stayed with them. They're really great Christians. We get home, they're sleeping. We couldn't wake up till the next morning.
their
We couldn't
kids
wait
would
till the
wake
next
up
morning.
and their kids are getting ready for school and they're like zombies. And we're like, you have to
They're
hear
high
about
school
yesterday.
kids. They knew what we were doing. They've been watching some of our videos. They're great kids. And so we would tell them what we were doing and how awesome it was and how the power of God was there. I have to tell you that being in the VIP room was the first place I had been in over a year without a mask.
That was on Thursday night. The conference was a Friday and a Saturday.
And then
She's talking about
being in
Thursday
a
night's
building,
dinner.
you guys, I want you to feel this with me. Okay. In a building with 4,500 people who were not afraid. Nobody had a mask on. Everybody was happy. They had security. You had to go through security. The security guards like, just give me a hug.
Yeah.
Just give me a hug. People were hugging.
Yeah.
People were laughing.
No one was scared
No one died.
as a result.
No one has died.
I don't
think anybody's gotten sick.
Don't say the name of it.
I don't think anybody's gotten sick.
Nobody's gotten sick that we know of.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma is the only city in Oklahoma that never had a mask mandate.
So our mom is in the chat and she says, it's like Leah and Michelle. You can't shut them up. You have to talk over them. Thanks, Mom. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It's true. It is very true. So we get a little excited. Let's go to the Linwood interview and then see if Mark wants to say anything.
Okay, so the next we go through
Mark
2
talk on his
days.
own show.
We get tons of interviews. Interview of the CEO of Clout Hub, super
Jeff
nice
Brain.
guy, Jeff Brain. We get to interview Mike Adams, super nice guy. You guys, Health Ranger, go to Brighteon, watch his channels. That's where you can find all the medical stuff that you want to know that's hidden. It's on Brighteon. It's just awesome.
Now we can't say I don't think we should say the name. Andy Wakefield did the movie VAXXED. That's what we're going to say.
Yep.
And we got to interview him. That was one of our best interviews.
I was shaky. If you guys don't know who this guy is, that was to me one of my fangirl interviews. And that got us a strike, our last strike on YouTube. But we just had to put it up. It was such a good interview when he talks and
we knew it was a
accent. He tells you all this stuff on how he made the connections and how he made the movie and how he's got this new movie out.
I don't think we should say it.
And so watch the interview, please.
Watch the interview. Everything you need to know is on that interview
with Andy Wakefield. You can say his name.
Okay.
Andy Wakefield.
Yeah, but watch it. It's so good. I was like, kind of like my knees were getting weak as I'm interviewing this guy.
Because he's been on the forefront, the tip of the spear in that realm, fighting for so many of us and exposing the lies for so many of us.
So it was during that interview
where our friend Clay, who's running for a different Clay, there's 2 Clays here.
Again, it was late at night. Other media had gone.
And he literally mouths to me, "I got you, Lynn." And I had asked him and so after the interview was over, he said, "I got you, Lynn." I said, "Do not kid me. Don't do this to me." Okay. And he's like, "No, legit."
Don't play with me.
I said, "Don't play with me." He said he had 2 interview slots left. And there were 4 people that wanted him, and I got you in.
So we got to go to the big media room where all like the big media were like One American News.
We were not allowed in that room the whole time. There was massive security, and we got to go in, and it was so funny because Pure Social, they're a Christian like YouTube and Twitter-ish type place, was interviewing Lynn, and the whole room was silent, and he's emotional. He's crying over his dogs. He is obsessed with his dogs.
He loves his dogs.
He loves his dogs, and he's trying to do a dog rescue, and the whole thing is like emotional, and we're so keyed up. Like we're like a dog on a chain, just like ready to go. We don't do this
level unless somebody's dead.
Yeah.
We're dying.
We can do serious if we have to.
If it's really important.
But I think that people either love us or they're like, these girls are too much. So we were trying to be really good. Like it's a library in there. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. So after it was over and he's just emotionally, he's hugging his friend who had come with him, and she works for him. And then he looks over and he says, "I see the chicks." And I almost fell over. I'm like, he knows who we are. And he had to take a couple of pictures, but he came over and he started singing. And
I saw this. I did see that.
And I didn't know what song he was singing, so I just started like winging it and singing back at him. And I want to make that clip
Michelle sings with Linwood,
or someone sings with just Linwood sings.
But that interview lit up the entire room.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's one thing that a lot of Christians have been saying, and Linwood is like, it's not time yet. So some Christians think that it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and then we're at the end of days. And Linwood is like, we're not at the end of days. It's a fake tribulation. They're doing this fake tribulation. Because
it keeps the church impotent.
It keeps us from fighting. It keeps us from being excited. It keeps us from having joy. And it takes away our morale.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think you're going to lose, are you going to fight?
Yeah. What's the point?
How is it if you thought you were going to lose? Oh, it's just the tribulation. Michigan's just going to come and take away my pigs. It's more nefarious
than that, though. It's not only I shouldn't fight, right? It's if I do fight,
I'm fighting God's will.
I'm fighting God's will,
right?
It's so twisted.
So it's basically saying somebody's going to rape me and it's going to be God's will, and I'm just not going to fight back.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
I'm not good with that.
I'm not,
especially when we believe that God's will is, and this is what Lynn kept saying throughout the conference. He had 2 speeches that were just fire. I think we streamed both of them. And he kept saying over and over again, I believe that we are about ready for the second harvest.
Yeah.
And so we're on like a precipice of a massive win and a big victory. And that's the difference that was at this conference.
Yeah.
Where everybody was on board with that. We're like, you know what? We're done with your, LaHaye end times books. Right now is our time to fight. And we all feel it. Yeah. We all feel that we are on the verge of a huge victory.
Massive victory.
And so
here's the thing, because we won.
We did win.
we won.
Yeah. And we have to keep
That's the
saying
key.
that.
That's the key.
So what Lynn kept
We won.
focusing on is he's like, we are going to win. And the positivity behind that, it's not just
It's
positivity.
a rumblings.
It's
like
confidence.
it's like when the army has been scattered in some of this epic movie,
yeah.
and you go like in Patriot, and you go and grab your guys.
I have goosebumps.
You know, so do I. I have goosebumps on my face. And you go and you grab your guys, and you're like, no, guys, we're gonna win this because we're right.
Yeah.
We're going to win this. What if our founding fathers had said, well, I guess it's the end times. Guys, if it's the end times, you're going to go down with your boots on fighting, winning.
Yeah.
Okay. You never say give up. Goonies never say die. Okay. We always got to think, if you think negatively, negative things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they've been trying to do to us to try to get us down and discouraged. But here's how I know that we're in the right. Because those on the left, those in the mainstream media are like, won't they stop?
Yeah.
We've taken away their voices. We've put masks on them. We've shut them down. We've called them racist. We called them homophobic. We have done everything to demoralize these people, and they're still happy.
And we're still happy. And
that's what they hate.
And the happier we are, the more bitter and miserable they are.
If you can make somebody miserable or unhappy, or even just anger is better than giving up.
Yeah.
But like, you've got to have purposeful anger, right? You have to have, it has to be with a purpose, with hope, with joy. Even when they smack you aside the face and say, everybody, at that thing in January that happened, they're all terrorists. No, we're not. No, we're not. And you can say it with a smile on your face. We're patriots. We love our country. We love our neighbors. We love our Black neighbors. We love our Hispanic neighbors. We love our Asian neighbors.
We love our white neighbors.
And we love our white neighbors. And we love our neighbors who we don't even know what they are. Okay. We actually love people. They don't. That's how we win. Because you actually can't win with hate and anger.
So with our interview with Lynn, once again, aside from that, which is pretty big, he kept saying that the devil is taking us through a false tribulation. And it's not real and we need to fight. That's, to me, the biggest takeaway from him. But the second biggest takeaway from our interview with Lynn is he, again, just like Mike Lindell, when he says the things that he says, he believes them to the core.
Yeah.
There was nothing false about Lynn Wood.
Oh, let me tell you my
So
perception of Lynn Wood changed by meeting him and hearing him in person. So I am on social media and I've heard everybody bash Lynn Wood, and I've heard them run his name through the mud, and I've heard them call him crazy and all these things. Yeah. And so I cautiously was like, Lynn Wood, but I wanted, like when he was down in Georgia, when he was saying, no, we have to fight for these 2 Senate seats and you have to fix what happened in November or we won't come out to vote. The Republicans ate him for breakfast.
Right. And
they said,
we were on the same side as Lynn. No, we don't go out and vote until they fix it.
Oh, he's a Democrat, or, he ruined the thing in Georgia and he did this. I now know, in talking to him one-on-one, dude was right.
Yeah.
He's not perfect. He's not going to say everything perfect.
And he doesn't claim to be perfect.
But he's fighting, and he's one of the good guys.
And he's putting his life, here's how we can separate the wheat from the chaff of these people that are fighting. Lynn Wood, Mike Lindell, General Flynn have all put their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor on the line for this. There are a lot of conservatives that I love. Still, to this day, I love them, but they are not doing that.
No.
And so
they're cowards.
The ones that are going to make this change,
Tucker Carlson
is going to be
coward.
Yes, coward, but I love him, but he's a coward. So what we found with Lynn was that he is just genuine and he's real and he loves people and he loves his country.
I think we've all been waiting, and we have idolization of some of our founding fathers, and where is that spirit? Listen, they weren't perfect, and neither are these guys, but that spirit of the founding fathers, and this is what we prayed.
So
We've been
powerful.
praying for this since November, that the spirit of the founding fathers would embody us all.
Yeah.
And the spirit of the founding fathers 1776 was in that building.
Oh my gosh.
It was on fire.
Really?
The Holy Ghost was moving. You could feel it. We had goosebumps all day long. And when we
would sit there and we would look at each other. I'm
How
just
is
just
this
saying
happening?
it again. I'm
How
like,
are
how
we
is this
here?
happening?
How are we here
I
right
don't
now?
even know. It felt
It was
otherworldly.
the most, let me tell you, this is God's honest truth. That event has changed the course of our country's history for
Literally,
the next 1,000 years.
Just like the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I truly believe that.
And-
I kid you not.
And from
Really?
that moment, here's the thing. Nobody else has done anything like that in this country. It was in defiance to the Great Reset, defiance to the mandates.
Ooh, that's another thing that Lynn
defiance
said.
to everything that would go against our liberty, but it was through not our own minds and our own flesh. Yeah, we use our own wisdom. We're like, hey, God, just like our founding fathers,
Yeah.
we need you. And just like our founding fathers in that building, we're Catholics, Baptist, agnostics,
There were, yes.
very few. And
Pilgrims.
just like our founding fathers, like no atheists though.
Yeah.
Like you have to have some belief in a higher power
Yeah.
that you're going to rely on for this.
Yes.
And so we all called on that higher power together, and that higher power came, and that higher power answered, and that higher power sent out this shockwave
yes.
across the country, and everywhere. Everybody felt it. We kept going. We kept telling everybody, we went to the land, the special land in Broken Arrow, where
there are
people
no
don't wear
masks.
masks, where they never had lockdowns. And we interviewed people. I went through the Bass Pro Shop and I interviewed people. I said, are people dying like flies here in Broken Arrow? Y'all don't have masks? We ate in a restaurant for the first time in over a year.
In a restaurant, because we're not going to go in one wearing a mask.
No,
we're just
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And it was, and everybody's like, no, they laughed at us. They laughed at us. No, people are not dying. And that governor of Oklahoma rescinded all the mask mandates. Okay. And I think Tulsa was like the last, and it's done now too.
Just like DeSantis has down in Florida.
Yeah. And, there are the people who are still going to wear them. But I found this when we came back, we used to go through the stores with them around our necks.
Just like underneath my lips, like this, to keep people at bay.
And you know this, and you probably know this to be true. People feel safer if you have a mask on your ear,
Hanging it like an earring.
or under your chin.
Because what it is it's a symbol that
It's a
says
religious
we're on
symbol.
the same side.
It's like a hijab. It's a religious symbol.
Yeah.
You just can't go in.
And we just won't go in those places.
But-
But it's been empowering because it's contagious.
Mhm.
And you'll see people when they see you without a mask, they'll take their mask off. And
Yeah.
and that's where we need to be. So one more thing that I wanted to say back, I can't remember if it was Mike Flynn or Lynn Wood, but they said that the globalists are trying to do the Great Reset, but God has a Great Reset that He's doing.
He's doing
And
it.
we believe that so
And I think
fervently.
it ties in with homesteading,
Yes.
living off the land, getting back to natural things, because their Great Reset requires us to have 4 pounds of hamburger a year, like lab grown meat, all this crazy like technology that hasn't been invented yet. We just need to put everybody in the cities, and we're going to run them off of energy from renewable sources that we don't even have the technology for yet, but it's going to be great. If you just give us all your billions and trillions of dollars, and we'll figure it out. No. You and I know that we do need to regenerate this planet, that the Green New Deal people want to destroy the planet. Okay. We want to heal the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. We want the green trees. They don't want green trees. They want solar powered and all these, and there's nothing wrong with solar power, but like you've seen the solar fields, they're not pleasant to the eye.
And they're not regenerative.
And they're not regenerative. Okay.
Right.
Those things are going to pile up like those wind turbines. We are like, hey, how about we put a black barrel outside and we're going to wash our hands or our bodies off for a little
Right.
bit. And how about that's the way that we reduce some of our energy consumption?
So here's what I said to Mike Adams, and this kind of rounds it off and sums it up. I believe that there are 3 things, and I might have said this to you on the phone when we talked last week. 3 things that I believe are going to turn this country around. You're going to have the people that are hard into politics, those that are awake and know what's going on. The people that are awake in homesteading and regenerative living is what I want to call it. Okay.
Real life.
And then the Christians.
Yeah.
And we all that it's a 3-strand cord, like the Bible says, that is not easily broken. And what's happening is I am seeing God
It's so
fuse
united,
and sewing all of those 3 together, and we will become unstoppable together. But it's going to take all 3. And that's what you'll find here at Resistance Chicks. The end.
Okay. Wow. One of the things that I've heard, and I heard this from Robert David Steele, a couple of things. He says the 4 F's, family, farms. What are the other 2? I can't think of it right now. Family,
probably
farms, faith.
I say freedom, but
finances, I don't know. Like, because we talk about the Federal Reserve on our show all the time.
So he's brought those up, and that was a bit of a right turn for him. You know, he was always before let's just plow through and make this happen. But I think that's true. I think that we went past a good place in American history. We went past it into agribusiness. We went into agribusiness, and that was just an attempt by the same people the big pharma people, big ag people, they're kind of the same people. They're not really into it. They just see a way to put themselves at the top of the pyramid and pull the resources out of the process. Where farming business and homesteading business, the process is as important as the product, because I'm teaching my children how to be functional, a good American, strong American people.
Right.
I'll tell you this, in my career in the military, I got to go to a lot of different countries. And when you leave the United States, you gain perspective. Because you're not here.
Right.
And you come back and you just want to embrace Americans. Like when we're here all the time, we think Americans, they'll give you the finger, they'll do all this to you. But I tell you what, when the chips are down, an American will stop what they're doing and help you. They're the people. They are the people. And they really have the spirit that I think our God wanted us all to be like this. And if America were to die, you would not have that spirit
that's so true.
Move out into the world.
Right.
Because we move everywhere. Not just through the military. But I got a question for you. Through that whole thing, I'm hearing things. I'm a trained listener, right? And in your opinion, this is going to be an opinion call. For my audience, I come back every night and I say, "Oh man, I'm optimistic. I am really optimistic."
I've seen that. I love it.
And I'm not kidding around. I really am optimistic because I have perspective. Okay. Now, why are you optimistic? Why are you optimistic?
You want me to take it?
I mean, can it be an event?
No.
Can that do it?
No, I was not an event. What happened was, and I say this to people all the time. A lot of times, let's talk about the bad guys for a second. They've been doing everything that they've been doing under the surface, and we couldn't see it for all this time. And
for the past 100 years, it's been underground.
And now it's come to the surface.
They can't hide it.
And they can't hide it, and we can see it. That's good news number 1. But on the flip side of that, God has been moving and doing. And so it was already happening. And what this event did was show it and bring it to the surface. And that's why I think, because we were feeling it in our basement, our studio's in our basement. We're feeling it in our everyday lives. We're feeling it on our homestead. We're feeling it when we talk amongst ourselves. But to see it.
So we felt, first of all, we're optimistic because what we believe God has shown us.
Personally, that's number 1.
And we have believed that the world is going to change for the past 10 or 15 years, but we couldn't see it. And when talking to our friends and family, they couldn't see why things would need to change. Now,
why they would even need to change.
On the homesteading level, they're on the top. Okay. They're on the top. When we started selling our pigs, people were waking up right and left. I got a homestead. I don't know why. I sold
Even
my
people
business.
on the left, I have to homestead.
People on the left.
I've walked away from corporate America. We bought a farm.
And
You probably hear it all the time. Like
exactly.
They're feeling this call like this, and they have to answer it.
Probably about the past 10 years, God has been calling people. And so that has been a wake up sign for me. Okay, this is happening. Something is changing.
It's a mass exodus.
There has been a huge, people are homeschooling in record numbers. And so that was a trickle. But the tell for me has been the exposing of the enemy. When 2016 happened, and then for the past 4 years, everybody's like, and we talked, here's Inside Baseball with Mike Lindell or any of these people. Do you think we could have just won outright on November 3rd? No. Because the stuff that has been exposed since then
had to happen.
If you have cancer and you don't know you have cancer, well, oh my gosh, but now you know, and now we have a treatment. So all of this had to be exposed. Look at the Republicans. There may be a third of them that are patriots, and you can see on who contested the electors, who's on our side, right? And in the Senate, Josh Hawley is the only guy, and half of Ted Cruz. He's like a 50%, but Hawley is the only guy.
Half of Ted Cruz. Yeah.
Okay. Hawley is our only guy in the Senate. Okay. So our whole Senate needs restructured. We'll keep Ted Cruz as 50%. Okay. But pretty much the rest of it, no go. Johnson's pretty good here and there over in Wisconsin. But exposing that, now we see coming out just now, Liz Cheney, Wyoming, number 3 in the GOP, doesn't invite Trump to the GOP convention, invites this Frank Luntz guy who's a Democrat, McCarthy, lobbyist. McCarthy is our leader, but he's a rhino too. So it's exposing it. We don't need a new party. We're going to take it back. There are so many people running now as patriots, and they're running on the Republican ticket because that's our party.
So and what it is so that is, I think, optimism number 2. Besides what God's spoken to us personally, it's we're literally seeing, and that's what the conference did as well, is it just brought it to the surface. Oh my gosh, these people are legit, like the patriots that are running, the patriots that are backing the patriots that are running.
Every time, and I kind of knew, like, there's still a few Christians, like 5 of them, who are never Trumpers. And those 5 Christian never Trumpers, there's probably more, they needed to see what it would be like under Biden.
Yeah, it had to happen.
Okay. They needed to wake up. God needed to wake up the church. The lockdowns had to happen to wake up the church.
God spoke to me something, I think it was either at the conference or right before the conference. And he said, this is going to take as long as it takes for the church to wake up and realize she's the one that has to stop it.
So people are waking up. Look, Hollywood, who's watching movies anymore? I mean, we're watching reruns.
No one's watching sports. Look at how, like,
nobody wants to go to sports anymore. Here's the thing. They keep digging their own grave.
So
they're shooting themselves in the foot. We don't even have to fight them anymore.
Mark,
this woke craziness.
You may have run into this on your farm, but the guy that we get beef from, he is on, we could usually get beef from him within 2 months. Anytime we asked for it, 2 months, we can get a beef. And now he's like, it's a year out. You need beef? It's a year out. We talk to people all the time and they're like, where can we get good food? Where can we stock our freezer? People that were on the verge are, you know what? I'm getting chickens this year. Chick sales went through the roof last year in 2020. I mean, seed sales, the seed companies could hardly keep up with the demands. So to me, I'm like, I'm seeing all of these people. It was the wake up call that we needed, because without it, here's the deal. We are Americans and they're great. And I love Americans and I'm with you 100%. Like you said, we would drop whatever we have to do to help our fellow man.
But we're lazy.
And we don't want to do stuff that we don't have to do.
But it's good for us.
If it's good for us. And honestly, we need a wake up call to do it.
Everybody that I've talked to said the lockdowns have been the best for them.
They lack,
because they got close to their family.
Yeah, I agree. Well, they Americans lack perspective. I mean, and I don't blame them, because they're at work. They're working hard. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
How can they have the perspective that somebody that's been outside of the country But now they have perspective. Now they understand what socialism could be. I think this whole thing that we've been watching with Biden and Harris, it's just like Charlie Ward says, I believe it's just pantomime because it's so over the top.
It's a joke.
There's no way they're going to achieve what they think they're going to do. And
That's such a good way of putting it.
You guys said something else too that I think is really noteworthy. In warfare, if you can take down the morale of the other side, you can destroy them a lot easier. And
sure,
a long time ago, this is a couple years ago, the president has said it a couple of times. And of course, the media painted him as some nutty guy sitting on his toilet twittering at 2 a.m. But he wasn't that guy. He wasn't drunk sitting on his toilet in the middle of the night. No, he was making a statement, and we weren't ready for the statement. And the statement was, mainstream media is the enemy of the people.
Yes.
And that is a very bold statement for the president of the United States, the sworn defender of you and I, to make a statement like that. And people blew it off because they thought it was so over the top.
Right.
But he meant every word of that. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I really don't. But I know that the mainstream media is going to have to crash.
Yes.
And it has to be some event that they totally crash and people are starved for information, and they go to the alternative media, which now I really believe is the mainstream media. The so-called mainstream media it's commentary. It's not even news anymore. It's quite ridiculous in a lot of ways. But the morale thing is huge. And that's why they pound us with bad information day after day after day after day. And it's to bring our morale down, bring our vibration down.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
We don't have to fall for it.
Another reason that I'm optimistic is because after they shut us all down, everybody that I talk to in my everyday life who used to watch like a Fox News, they don't watch Fox News. Then we turned to Newsmax. Then they turned off Newsmax. And so we have all, even my friends, they've all searched out these little places to go. And that's like, I would say 75 million people have searched out. And here's the thing, they call us sheep. They call us, brainwashable. Well, wait a minute. How come we turned off Fox News? How come we turned off Newsmax?
Right.
Because we recognize lies and we're not going to listen to lies. So no, actually we're not sheep who just get our talking points from Fox News.
Tell me one leftist that goes, I just can't watch CNN. They lie too much.
I know.
Like, no, but those of us on the right, we're watching Fox News. I can't watch Fox News. They lie too much.
Right.
It doesn't make us a sheep. That makes us independent thinkers.
I'm optimistic because on our side are the people who maybe we get things wrong. Maybe we don't have the bead on everything, but at least we're searching it out for ourselves and we're not taking anybody's word for it.
Right.
And with that, because we are critical thinkers, I'm optimistic that we are going to critically think ourselves out of this. You know what I mean?
And so not to stroke your ego too much, but this is a valid thing that we talk about in our house. It's because men like you are not backing down.
Oh, absolutely.
That gives us an intense amount of optimism.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just true.
Yeah. Yeah. You give us optimism.
Yeah.
Your channel, and you're one of many.
Right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. One of the things, I asked you that question about your optimism, and I'd like to give my reason for my optimism.
Yes.
I'd like to give that to you now, if I might.
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, like we were talking last night about regenerative ag as opposed to, say, permaculture. That mindset, the permaculture mindset is, well, there is no God. It was just a big bang. There is no plan. We're going to play God, and we're going to manipulate the land to hold water and to
Right.
build food forests and all that stuff. They kind of say that it's them that's doing it. Man, I am God,
Yeah.
But the other side, the regenerative side, is just acknowledging this majesty, and if you work in it, you live in it, you eat from it, you lay down in it, there's no way you can't just acknowledge that this is a plan. This is a dynamic, beautiful plan, that you're just a part of it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it was created for you, but you weren't given the keys to change things and
Right.
really change around. So when I look at that, I say it's sort of like a flow chart. Is it this way or is it this way? If I
Okay.
can't go this way, if the Big Bang is out and it doesn't make sense and I don't have that amount of faith, and I come to this way,
Right.
and I say, well, of course, this is intelligent design.
Yeah.
And it's our higher power, it's our God, it is Christ. Then I have to say that, well, if he created this, he's really put a lot of work into this and has the solutions necessary
I love it.
to deal with the likes of
That is so good.
the criminal left in American
Ooh.
society.
That is so
It's
good.
just the criminal left, the
Mm,
criminal left and the criminal right.
that
I
is so good.
I don't think it's a left-right issue. So when you look at the raw power of the God of the universe, and then you think, oh no, the DNC, what are we going to do?
Oh,
It's kind of dumb, really. It's kind of dumb.
That's so good.
I like watching. I really dig Mike Lindell. I really dig all those guys, and when they validate the way I feel, I like that. But that's not where my optimism's coming from. That is not. My optimism's coming from the God of the universe is going to win this. He's not going to turn it over to them.
Yeah.
We already know that. We already know
Right.
that. He's not going to turn it over to them. So this might not be the battle, but it's one of them.
Yeah.
It's one of the battles.
yeah.
And I think, like, as a family, we've gone through battles, and you can almost match up the skirmishes.
Mhm.
And
I feel it. I know exactly what you're talking about. So would you,
we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. Can you?
well, I was just going to say, I was going to piggyback on that. Would you say, because this is what we say, that God took us through a lot of these battles in our own personal lives
I feel that.
to teach us how to battle this on a nationwide level,
Or global.
global level? Yeah.
Absolutely.
See?
Absolutely. What the refiner's fire. That's what this is. This is refinement.
Yeah.
See?
Warriors.
So good. The visual that
the
I
warrior
had
heart.
when you were saying that earlier was because you were like, listen, if God put all this effort into this, wouldn't he have put into the design?
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking of white blood cells. So we were just
Yes.
talking about that research study that we did with the white blood cells. And it's like, God has created the white blood cells that will kill this cancer
Societal
or sickness or whatever. And that is,
we can regenerate from this.
regenerative. So I had this visual of the white blood cells going in. It's a part of his design that when there's a sickness, and that goes to what, and I think you should tell Mark what we went to this conference. God gave us a message before we even left, that if we could talk to any pastors, that we would give them this message. And we did. We gave it to Craig Hagan, the pastor of the associate pastor at Rhema, and to the two other pastors. And it is what?
That was, we come from a charismatic background. They believe in laying on hands. They believe in healing. You come from a background where you believe that regenerative farming and food can bring healing
To the land and to the animals in our
I
bodies.
believe that same, you just gave me a piece of the puzzle, by the way.
Wow, that's good.
You gave me a piece of this puzzle. See, I went in and I told these pastors from their view, and you gave me the other piece. That was so powerful. I love when this happens. So God told me to tell these pastors, you can lay hands on the sick. our government is sick.
Yes.
We just
oh
need
my
to
gosh.
lay hands on them and see them healed.
Dude,
What you just said
that's it.
was that in the DNA of creation
yes.
is the ability to heal
But not even
society.
But not even that though. I would take it a step further. So we went to the church and we said, you guys have the gift of laying hands on the sick and seeing them recover. You do this well, at least from the churches that we went to. They do it really well.
Well,
People
what
come
they
from all
did-
over the world to get healed
Example, if they hear somebody's sick, they will not stop praying for you.
until it's
They don't,
through.
there's no sickness for them that's given to you by God. They will keep praying and believing until you're
So
better.
what the message is to tell the pastors, but the government's sick.
So-
So I just got this just now live on your show. Now the next message is to go to the homesteaders and say, hey guys, you know how to do regenerative farming. We know how to do it the polyface way, right? Now let's apply that to the government. So
Yeah.
everything that we do, whether it's pasture rotation or whatever, that model can be applied to the healing of our government, and that melds the two. I
Because if
think.
you don't have the government healed, you don't have proper healing.
The government is
anywhere
sick
else.
right now, and it's just like big ag had come in to our government, and so we have to heal it.
And I love what you said. You said we reached a pinnacle in our nation and we shot past that.
Yeah.
So now we just need to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to underwind everybody. Every time you say that, I don't know if you get this. People are like, yeah, but penicillin. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's what you're going to hang up all of this pollution and craziness on penicillin. You know, they had natural antibiotics, right? Okay. Dear God.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah.
But penicillin. Well, look where that's gotten us. Resistant penicillin.
It's a drag having this gap in the
I know, the lag.
conversation like this, the lag. But yeah, it's really a drag. But I think we covered a lot of ground here. I was going to say something. When you talked about regenerative government, okay, there is a model for that. So in regenerative ag, every time we do the process, every time we run through the process, it gets better.
Yes.
It regenerates, it gets better. So in the military, the way it's set up is you're constantly changing out people. No one's ever in a place for too long. So you have to tell the next guy, this is how we do this.
Yeah.
And you may get somebody that's better with attention to detail, and he cleans it up. He does it better, right? So the process is constantly cleaning itself. It's constantly getting sharper. It is systemically regenerating itself.
That's amazing.
Where in America right now, we still have the best people in the world. I mean, the best people in the world. If you leave a $10 bill at one of the crummiest stores in Detroit, you leave it on the counter there accidentally, you might get a guy say, hey man, you left this here.
Yeah.
That happens. That really
Yes.
does happen. You break down on the road, you'll have 10 people stopping to help you in
Yeah.
some of the crummiest places.
Right.
And we're told constantly that, you're just a bunch of racists and
Right.
da-da-da-da-da. That's not true.
Right.
Those are lies from the pit of hell. Same with the lies about agriculture. Those are
Right.
lies from the pit of hell. And they're designed, they come from the pit of hell because they're designed to bring our morale down so that we're a lot easier to conquer, a whole lot easier to conquer. So a lot of things can happen. Every day that I wake up, I think, whoa, this could be quite the day. Because I think the consciousness of America is changing.
Yeah.
And it's not because Rachel Maddow's helping us with that. It isn't. It's almost like the more they push the other direction, and that's all they know. They're not very smart. You know, Q has said many times, these people are dumb.
Right.
These people are dumb.
They are.
And I completely agree with that. They only have one playbook.
Yep.
And I kind of look at things, I guess, militarily. And so I put myself in their guys' shoes, right? You've got I would say pretty conservatively 100 million. There's 320 million people in the United States. I would say conservatively, you've got 150 million of them that are on board with what we're talking about here.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We hear the empty barrel rattling with the, you know, the blue hair, you know, kneeling for the, you know, the declaration or the, I'm having a Joe Biden moment here. Kneeling for the
flag,
The
what are they
anthem.
kneeling for?
The anthem.
the
The
anthem.
national anthem. I'm sorry. I'm getting going.
It happens to me all the time. We call
now.
each other Nancy and Maxine all the time.
But you have them pushed to the front by the mainstream media and said, hey, this is what America's about here, right?
Yep.
And so we start feeling like we're only a few. Maybe we ought to give up. Maybe we ought to just raise our hands, raise the white flag and give up. But I don't think 150 million people are actually buying into that.
No.
I don't. So I think that the other side, when they really look at the damage that they've done so far to destroy America, I think that they feel as though they've fallen short of where they
Yeah.
need to be.
Sure.
If we go right down through the Bill of Rights, First Amendment, you know, we have the right to free speech. That's powerful. That is so powerful what we're doing here today.
Right.
We have the right to own and bear.
Yeah.
Have they confiscated one weapon? I don't believe so.
Right.
But I got kicked off YouTube the other night for talking about firearms. I got kicked off. That was pretty cool. They took the whole show right down, right?
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, it's like you guys are awful sensitive about that. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why our forefathers said the right to own and bear arms shall not
Right.
be infringed. Very important because it equals things up. And then they've tried to disparage our relationship with the police.
Mm.
They've only brought us closer.
I
you know?
know.
Yeah.
I used to kind of not like cops. You know, I always felt like, why do I have to deal with that guy with that car out there? Gonna pull me over, give me a $250 fine. But I look at him differently now.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he looks at me differently now too. He's looking at me like, I know you got my back now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mess with you anymore. We're in real war now.
Yeah,
You have
that's
my
so good.
back.
That's so
And I
good.
know you have my back. And we do have their back. They're mostly like us. Most
We'll
of them.
throw the CIA and the FBI
So-
under the bus, though. We want the average.
That
cop.
needs to go away. Yeah. CIA, FBI, DOJ, they need to go away. They need to
NSA.
be. I think the government, I think there's a plan, NSA as well. I think there's a plan. You know, I trust the plan. I do. I believe in the alliance 100%. I've seen evidence of the alliance. And there's some really smart people in our orbit that
Mm.
are working at this hard because they have skin in the game.
Right.
In this case, this may sound crazy, but in this case, we're fighting for the homeland. We are what the Viet Cong were to the Vietnamese in Vietnam, the Vietnam War. We don't get to go home if we lose.
Right.
We
That's
don't
so
get to go
good.
home. And they didn't get to go home either.
Right.
So this is either win or lose and hang. So in warfare, you adopt this mentality that we're already dead. You know, I mean, it's just a question of we've got a little bit of time on Earth. We need to absolutely pull the stops, absolutely, and give it everything we have. And when you start seeing people saying, you know, I'm going to put my life on hold here for a little while, and I'm going to run for county clerk. I'm going to run for county
right.
sheriff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
You know,
You did.
that's where it's at. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would piggyback
Kind
on
of calling me again.
that. Yeah, that phrase. You said, and this is so powerful because you said to the Viet Cong, we're like, or even in the military, you've got this mindset of we're already dead. So we might as well make the most of the time that we have that, you know what I'm saying? So you said something so powerful to me today. You were upstairs and you were like, you do realize that as Christians, we never die and we don't focus on it. And so it's the same mindset of you can't kill me.
Jesus said,
You can't touch me. Even if you touch my body, you can't kill me.
He raised Lazarus from the dead. He's like, if you believe on me,
you will never
never die. And when you recognize that you never die, that you live on, like the founding fathers live on, the pilgrims live on. When you've made your stance in this world,
right?
Like you live on.
It's the same mindset, but with more power, I think. And so, so when you said that, it just the light bulb went off. I'm like, yes, I get that. I get that feeling. It's like we're already dead, essentially, or we can't die, whichever way you want to look at it. So you can't touch me.
Yeah.
And so
we have nothing to lose.
We have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
And they fight with violence and anger and hatred and looting and stealing Nikes. And they hate us because we fight with YouTube channels and memes and just sharing
75-mile rallies in Arizona with Trump flags on our cars.
Exactly. Like we fight the lawful way, and it's literally.
Yeah. And they're miserable.
They accuse us of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when we say we're going to fight and lay down our lives, they're literally in the streets, like attacking cops, burning buildings down. Okay. We are doing this ideological battle here.
Meaning we're willing to lose our jobs.
Yes.
We're willing to lose our reputations.
Our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor on the line, you know? And it's just amazing to me that Joe Biden's got this whole like domestic terrorist thing out. And he's going to go after the white supremacists who weren't a thing like 4 years ago. Right. Nobody.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane. So you do recognize that what they accuse you of is what they're guilty of.
Right. And they lost the battle when it comes to that.
And they hate that we laugh at them. They have no humor. They can't do any memes. They can't laugh. What a miserable existence for these people. You have to feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
You can be angry at them, but feel sorry for them because they are miserable. They're not happy people.
I only barely feel sorry for them.
You know what? I have several people who are caught up in that liberalism, and I don't think it's I think it has a lot to do with Satan's ways. The story of the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve and everything. And I say to my audience, look, I don't know if that's true, because when you bring that up, it's sort of like, well, it's, don't stake your reputation on a story like that. And I say it doesn't matter if it's true. It's the symbolism involved here. Eve had commune with the Creator, but yet she was still fooled, beguiled by the snake.
Yep.
The snake was a creation of God. Right?
Yeah.
So when I see these people that should know better, that are lining up to take the shot, and they're lining up to put 2 masks on, and they're carrying out and going ballistic on people over masks and stuff. I think I don't want to play into it too much and be too mean to them, because they're beguiled. Half the nation, I believe, is beguiled right now.
That's true.
It's really
absolutely
They're
true.
beguiled. That's it. They're bewitched. They're bewitched.
That's an almost better word, right?
Term.
People get that word. A spell. Yeah. There's a spell on them.
Yeah.
It's a spell.
I think so.
So we have to break the spell.
Wouldn't it be nice? Well, I don't know about us, but wouldn't it be nice if tomorrow we got up and they had snapped out of it?
Right. I think it's going to happen at some point. You talked about an event.
Could happen.
You talked about something, just kind of all of a sudden happening. That's kind of the same word that we've been getting for years when God speaks to us. I've got like a little journal, kind of prayer journal and stuff. And I just keep getting that it's going to happen in a moment.
Well,
whatever it is.
Tell them about your dream about all those frozen people.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Chronicles of Narnia. We used to see the one way back, the BBC one when we were kids. And everybody is frozen into stone by the bad witch. She cast her little spell.
Oh, yes.
Everybody gets frozen. And then at the end of the movie, Aslan, the lion, comes and breathes life, and they all become unfrozen. And I had this dream. I don't even remember when it was, but I knew we were fighting in this epic battle, and several of us were frozen. We were up in trees, and we were all over the place, just frozen like stone. And then all of a sudden, we all became unfrozen. And I told Leah, I said, I feel like immediately when I had that dream, the interpretation of it was those of us that have had our voices silenced on social media. When we were at that conference, they asked a question of the audience: how many of you have had at least one social media account deleted because of your beliefs and because of what you've been saying? 2/3 of the audience raised their hand. That's massive. So I think at some point, it's all just going to, the dam is going to break.
And
you were talking about the media.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about. I think that it's going to happen across the board.
Okay. And my prediction, because I've been feeling this, how do you feel optimism? You feel it inside. I feel it inside. We felt it inside the drum beats. You can just feel it. Boom, 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 boom. It's so exciting. I don't know. We should have not been so excited after November 3rd. But our excitement built and built. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is really awesome. And they're like, oh, but you lost. No. This is awesome. No, this is going to be awesome. You have no idea how awesome
I don't think it's over yet. I know it's not. I don't even think it. I know
Kansas
it's not.
prays every night. God, I thank you for this election season, because the election season is still happening. And your will be done is what he prays all the time. But anyways, I just get so excited that things are changing. I just feel the power of God moving and going in this, like this next level, this next realm. And I do believe that when Frank's speech, and I'm not putting my eggs in a basket, I can feel it, I can sense it, that when this Frank speech is up, the gig will be up for the mainstream media. This is why, because we haven't all been able to unify at one place. Because when we share our ideas,
what does the enemy always do? It's called divide and conquer. So it's the age old thing. You go back to the Garden of Eden. The devil got Eve away from Adam. So divide and conquer.
We were able to talk to a lot of the people who have the separate media sites. They want to work with Frank's speech. They want to work with Mike Lindell. We're going to funnel. This is brand new information for all your viewers. We're going to funnel all our information through Frank's speech, through Mike Lindell. God has a call. If you have not heard Mike Lindell's testimony,
oh my gosh,
as he was a crack addict, and how he had his My Pillow company while a crack addict.
I've heard it.
Okay, maybe your viewers, just a quick overview. While a crack addict, he had My Pillow, and he was telling everybody that God had a wonderful plan for his life and that he had a call on his life.
And when he was going to save everybody, all of his fellow dealers and
one
so
time,
on and so forth.
He went looking for his next hit. And the crack dealers were like, they
staged an intervention.
They staged an intervention, and they made sure that no crack dealer in the whole area, in the whole city, would sell him any crack, because they said, you keep saying that God is going to do something for you and do something through you, and you're going to help us, so we're not selling you any more crack. That night, God delivered him. He's never gone back. And he has a call of God on his life to do what he's doing right now. This whole thing had to happen. Frank's speech had to happen. The media had to happen. Donald Trump said this: if there's one thing that I've done, and he said this after the election, that I can say that I've really done, it's to expose the media. That goes along with what you're saying. Okay. Exposing the media, exposing the lies. It's over for them. Even liberals don't trust the media anymore.
So that goes. So what you're saying essentially is piggybacking on Mark's. They're bewitched. When they will become, the spell is going to break.
Because when we all come together, because two-thirds of us have been silenced, and we have the truth. Here's the great thing about the truth. The truth sets people free.
Yeah.
Even lefties and liberals. Okay. Because we saw 10 million more people vote for Donald Trump in 2020.
And that's according to their count.
That's on the books. Never before has a president ever gotten 10 million more votes on the second time. They always usually lose votes on the second term. Okay. So he gets 10 million more votes.
Tread easy where you're
he
going
gets
with
10
this.
million. I'm not, no,
Mark's channel.
No, I know. He just literally, it's a fact.
We don't want you kicked off.
I won't. He gets 10 million more votes. Where did those votes come from? They came from the left.
Exactly.
They came from people who did not vote for him in 2016. 10 million more people. And that's on the books. That's in the bank. Okay. That's huge. So where did all those people go? Those people woke up. They were red pilled. We're not going back. Once you are a liberal and you're red pilled, you don't go back. You can be a conservative and hold your nose and vote for Trump. But if you were a liberal and you get red pilled on everything and you start going down like the sex trafficking rabbit holes and everything start going together, they're like, okay, we cannot go back. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those people are evil. All right. And so when we all get together and we're able to start to put two and two together, because a lot of us have just pieces of the puzzle, and the left's like, well, if we just keep them divided, they won't put the whole puzzle
And
together.
that goes back to the conference.
And we are going
We
to
all
put,
got together.
we all got together. And you know what, Mark, what's so cool is we're all saying the same thing, which means the universe, the God of the universe, is telling us the same thing. It's just like with the homesteading. When you get it, when you're red pilled on the homesteading and growing your own food, we all start saying the same thing. Okay. Because it's God. Okay. And so this is God. And that's why I'm optimistic, because I wake up every day and I feel more alive today than I ever have in my entire life.
And when we commune with one another and your viewers, because guys, I have you up in the chat here. This is igniting fires and they hate it. And we're going to just keep doing it.
And it's going to just, yeah. That's why I'm excited. That's why I'm optimistic. So guys, really look forward to this and
I think
pray.
we cut off what Mark was saying about
Pray for the Frank speech, because
the
I think
guideline
that
and
that's
the
where we're
witch
going to
thing. Sorry,
end up.
you got us excited.
Yep.
That's okay. I got a request here it's a request for you to end with a song.
Who said that?
No.
Oh dear. Is that from Adeline?
And maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was mom.
It probably wasn't Mom.
Was it Mom?
No, Adeline.
It was Adeline.
It was. I knew it was. Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
on our show on Friday. We can't end Mark Baker's
We can't
show
end
with
Mark
a song.
Baker's show in
That's
a
okay.
song. Oh
But
my
thank you,
gosh.
Adeline. That's one of
That's
our
okay.
viewers.
Oh yeah, they love it. They ask for it. Leah and I have been singing our entire lives. It's just a thing that we do. So we do it on our show because they ask for it. But anyway,
we could end in prayer.
we could end in prayer.
Yeah, we won't break out in song.
That'd be all right. That'd be all right.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be all right. We'll call it a wrap.
Yeah, this has been
I think
awesome.
we covered a lot of ground here. A lot of ground.
Thank you for having
I'd
us
like to do
on.
this
This has been a
again
long time
sometime.
coming. We've been talking about this for a year, I think.
And so for our viewers, we'll
Yeah.
have to have Mark on
Yes,
to give the regenerative farming.
I'd love to.
because they need that. Absolutely, they need that.
Love to.
And
They
our
need to be
YouTube
told
channel
anyone
should be
can
up
follow.
soon.
Everything connects. It all connects. Last night when I got into it, I said the first thing that needs to change when we go regenerative is our mindset. That we don't live in a world where people only have so much to give. They've got abundance to give, of themselves, of kindness and happiness and smiles and hugs and all. They've got tons of that stuff to give.
Yeah.
This was Satan's agenda that was just foisted on us,
Yeah,
that we can't get closer than 6 feet. We got to cover our
exactly.
faces. I feel ripped off when I'm talking to somebody and I can't see their face. I actually feel ripped off
I do
because
too.
the other people, they were made for me, right? They were made for me. And when I
Right.
can't see their faces, I feel like I'm getting ripped off. I
Well,
don't like
especially for you with a military background, because I feel like whether they train this into you or whether you just pick it up, you need to be able to read people. And if they are taking away your ability, and it's a defense mechanism that we have, it's innate, given to us from God to be able to protect ourselves by reading somebody else. Oh, you're a dangerous person, or you're a safe person. And so when they take that away from you, they are stripping you of a right that's a protecting right, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said it. That's a sign of I believe it's a religion, that whole face mask thing. It's sort of a religious thing. And I didn't choose to participate except for one time. And that's when I got in trouble with it. That's a whole nother story.
How did you get in trouble with it?
Oh, I was getting on a boat to go over to an island where we were doing a class, and the guys running the boat, they're guys just like me. They're blue collar guys. And I figured I don't want to hassle them. So I just pulled a gaiter up over my face. And on the way back, I pulled it over my face. When I got on the boat, going up the gangplank, there was very few people on the boat. And then I'm getting off the boat nobody on the boat was wearing face masks. The crew weren't wearing face masks. I thought it was cool. You know, we're all in this. And the captain stops me at the bottom of the gangway and he says, "You need to pull your mask up." And I probably, if I was prepared for it, I would have just said, okay, and pulled it up and walked past them. But I wasn't prepared for it. I was thinking about getting home. I was thinking about stopping on the way home and getting a sandwich. I was thinking about good things.
Right.
But I went from 0 to
Oh, dear.
hero in about 2 seconds. And that's when I said to myself, I have to prepare myself going out in public. I can't, you know, because you can wind up getting in trouble. You can't touch anybody. You can't. But I said to him, "Why are you jumping me as a passenger when the crew is not wearing face masks?" And they were all behind him unloading the boat. And I got loud pretty quick. I got loud and I got very close to him pretty quick. And,
Oh dear, Mark.
You know, yeah, I probably won't take the boat when I go over there next. I'm going over in November, so I'll probably fly over in an airplane this time.
Oh my God.
I mean,
That's awesome.
if you look at this whole thing, the victory is won.
Yes.
Right? The victory is won. So if I got to put a stupid face mask on to keep myself out of jail, fine, whatever.
Right.
I know where this is going. We win this. We win this.
I love that. That's really good.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Keep myself out of jail. I get it. That's awesome.
I'm
All
still
right.
getting requests for songs, but
Oh my gosh.
You can join. We will have a worship service. We're gonna have one soon, guys. We will. So you keep a lookout.
I'm trying to think of one that would be like fun and easy and short that we could do real quick to pacify somebody. But
no, let's just end
all right,
it.
let's
We've
do the
gone
prayer.
long here. Let's
I love
yeah,
that
go
Mark's
for
on
it.
our side. Thank you. See, a real
I'm
man
on
will
your
know
side.
when you're not ready to do something like that.
We'll bring Mark on and have him sing on our show.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Be
Anytime.
ready. You be ready because they'll be
Anytime.
requesting it.
All right, Pastor Leah.
All right, God, I thank you so much for this time together. I thank you for Baker's Green Acres and for the ministry that they do to thousands and thousands of people
Yes.
all across the world. I pray that their message of regenerative farming, of healing your body inside and out, of family and faith and fun, they make things fun. I thank you, Father God, for them. And I pray that you continue to bless them, bless all their children, even their kids who are like getting out of the corporate world, Father God, and just doing it. They're doing a thing that's just different
In a van.
in a van. And I just pray, Father, that you bless all of their children, bless what they're doing, bless the viewers right now at Baker's Green Acres, those who are hungering to live the life that Mark and his
Jill.
family are living right now. And I just pray that you open doors for them that no man can shut. Father God, give them their dream farms and their animals, and give them the courage that they need to take those steps in that direction, and finances, and may everything fall into place. And I just thank you, Father God, for Michigan right now. I just thank you, Father God, for freedom there in the name of Jesus. We speak life into Michiganders, and may they be able to stand up in the places they need to stand up. May their election be firm and true and right. And I just thank you for our country right now, that you bring into healing, regenerative healing to our government right now. And the spirit of our founding fathers, the spirit of 1776, I thank you that it can't be stopped. I thank you, Father God, that we won because you won. You won on Calvary. There's nothing that can come against us. You have not given us a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind. We speak to the fear in our country. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You don't have to be angry. We don't have to hate each other. I pray for unity, Father God, in the spirit. I pray, Father God, for a revival of people's faith in you and a coming to know you as creator, God. I thank you, Father God, that you are moving in a great and powerful way, and that you put us in the positions that we need to be at, and that we would be ready and willing and obedient to follow you in whatever way. And God, I just thank you that you're great and that you're doing great things. Send your angels all around this country to do what you know best, to secure elections, we have good politicians in the right places at the right time. And I thank you, Father God, that we are living right now on a precipice of a change. This is our Reformation. This is our 1776, and it's monumental. And I thank you, Father God, that nobody's going to have to die. And we're going to do it the right way, through the power and through the courts that have already been set up. And I thank you for those who have gone before us to pave this way. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And with that, we will end it. And I appreciate you guys coming by. It was a good time. Real good
Thank
time.
you for having us. We have had a blast.
My life has changed.
And you have changed our life. That's very true.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you and have a good night.
You too.
I will. Yeah. Bye-bye.